All right, calling the meeting to order at 5 p.m.
And the Lincoln Board of Selectmen have one issue wanted to talk about. We have a notice of intent to cut wood over Blue Mountain. All filled out, just needs to be approved by the board to send it in. And I'll make a motion that we approve the notice of intent to cut. And this is for loom to be done by Classon's Tree Service.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay. Next up, welcome, folks, and then welcome to those that are in the audience. First up, we have for discussion is the Kanc Rec Ski Area. We received a letter earlier this afternoon that will be entered into the minutes, and I'm just going to read a section of it.
Paraphrase,
Yep. So we received a letter. The Kanc Rec there's residents in Lincoln that were concerned, that brought their concerns to the Lincoln board back in January. And it was decided that any discussion regarding the Kanc Recreation would be a joint discussion, since we jointly pay for it and support it. So this letter received by Victoria Martin this afternoon at 12:10 p.m. Good afternoon. Skiing is an integral part of New England culture. At some point in the last century, many New Hampshire towns had a small ski hill, often with a rope tow. The peak of the small ski area was in 1930 to 1970. They relied on natural snowfall and were mostly staffed by volunteers when conditions were allowed them to open. Small ski areas began to be lost in the 1970s with the rise of larger resorts as travel was made easier by interstate highways and personal vehicles. Most have been lost. According to NELSAP, the New England Lost Ski Areas Project, which works to preserve the history of 604 lost ski areas in New England. New Hampshire has lost 172 ski areas and has only 8 small ski areas that have remained open. One of those 8 is the Kanc. To put that further into perspective, some of the 8 still rely on natural snowfall and open on a very limited basis. Mount Eustis in Littleton, Veterans Memorial in Franklin, and Red Hill in Moultonborough. 2 more of the 8 are now owned and operated by independent schools, Blackwater Proctor and Clancy Cardigan. Another 8 closed and reopened years, sometimes decades later. Middlesill, Campton Mountain, Snowy Waterville, Mount Prospect, and Tenny Mountain are examples of local areas that have reopened. While larger ski areas have grown in popularity and most of the smaller ones have disappeared, skiing has become a sport that is most prohibitively expensive for most people. Okay, at the Kanc, a resident family season pass costs $75. Lunch is still $1, and conditions are better than the big resorts on any given day. This is all to underline that the Kanc is a rare and precious place, the envy of the many communities. Yeah. Thank you. The Kanc has survived because of the devotion and generosity of the Lincoln Woodstock community. Our current lodge was funded through a combination of town money and community donations and was built entirely with volunteer labor. It was literally built by the community for the community and serves as the heart of it during the winter months. The Kanc has been made better throughout the years by the daily work of long-term employees and by several large forward-thinking contributions. Danny Barassa spearheaded the effort to install snowmaking and modern grooming. Without snowmaking, we would rarely be able to open. Dave Doblock devoted years of his life to the Kanc, leading projects that made countless improvements, including adding a kitchen to the lodge, raising the roof of the lodge to add slope-facing windows, and create space for a game room and lounge for the kids, building a new tow shack and a gate shed at the top of the hill, and adding freestyle elements to the terrain. He worked with Aaron Lux to increase the race program at the Kanc so that now our Linwood ski team does nearly all of their slalom training there, and we host a middle school race and 2 high school races every year. For many in our community, the David Doblock Memorial / Kanc Classic races are the highlight of our Kanc season. The Kanc is a very special place that has served because of the passion, generosity, and support of an involved community. Before we had a full-time director of recreation, the Kanc was run by a board of volunteers. The board was made up of members of the local community who loved the place and were devoted to making sure it was used to its full potential. I would like to propose the creation of a volunteer Kanc Ski Area Board to assist with the operations, planning, and support of the Kanc. There was significant community support for the idea of the Lincoln BOS meeting on January 1st, where it was discussed in detail. There are numerous advantages to a Kanc Ski Area board, but they can be condensed into 3 categories. Community engagement has always been vital to the Kanc, and we have lost some of that over the years. There are many people in our community who are passionate about skiing in general and small ski areas in particular, with energy and enthusiasm that could be put into good use in supporting the Kanc and helping it to be used to its full potential. Staffing has reportedly been a challenge in recent years. 30 years ago, it was more common to have at least one parent home with their kids or working part-time. This arrangement made it easier for parents to pick up part-time jobs at the Kanc during the winter. Today, it is much more likely that both parents are working full-time outside the home, and a part-time winter job is hard to add into an already busy schedule. With increased community engagement, a board could compel people to see working at the Kanc in the winter as a community service and not just a part-time job. Jim and I signed up on last year to fill holes in the ski patrol and tow operator schedules. There are other people who love the Kanc who would do the same if engaged. Increased community engagement could be helpful with fundraising and volunteer opportunities. Equity and management. The Kanc Hill can be a small space, especially early in the season, and there are competing interests there. It can be a challenge to balance community use, training space, and time for the limited ski teams and the freestyle teams. A board with a broad representation from people who ski regularly at the Kanc and love the place, coaches from the alpine and freestyle teams, people with extensive knowledge and experience in the ski industry, and other interested community members would be well suited to balance those interests. The group would also be useful in finding ways to increase access for all of those groups. Creativity and improvements in planning for the future. Studies have repeatedly shown that diverse groups of people demonstrate more creative problem solving and are more successful at implementation and management. More minds thinking about a problem generate more creative solutions. The warming climate is already having significant impacts on the ski industry, and we're going to need to understand the science and be prepared to adjust our snowmaking going forward. A board could work to brainstorm and prioritize improvement projects. Tara has been running the Kanc for a long time and has a lot of experience. Eventually, she will retire and we will need to hire a new rec director. There are robust curricula for recreation management and youth sports management, but none that will include how to run a small rope tow ski area. An established board would help smooth that transition and knowledge gap. A number of people have expressed interest in sitting on the board. Jim and I would like to sit on the board. We both grew up in Lincoln, learned to ski at the Kanc, and have since taught all 4 of our boys to ski there. We regularly ski at the Kanc and are passionate about seeing it survive and be the best it can be. We see the board as a wonderful opportunity to give back to our community and protect this rare and special place. Aaron Loves has volunteered as well. He has worked at the Kanc and coached the Linwood ski teams for many years. He has a deep love for skiing, ski racing, the Kanc, and our community, and would represent all of those exceptionally well. Jay Scambio has expressed his willingness to sit on the board. He began at Loon in 1998 as a snowboard instructor, became the terrain park manager in 2002, and then took on a role to oversee all of Boyne terrain parks in 2008. In 2015, he became the director of mountain sports development, and in 2017, he succeeded Rick Kelly as GM of Loon. He is now the Chief Operating Officer, Day Area Operations for Boyne Resorts. Kevin Bell has also expressed his willingness to sit on the board. He also has long experience and knowledge of the ski industry and is currently the Vice President of Marketing at Loon. Jay and Kevin both live in Lincoln and Woodstock. Their kids ski and snowboard at the Kanc and participate in freestyle program there. While Loon and the Kanc are very different entities, their appreciation for the place and extensive experience and knowledge of the industry could be extremely helpful in navigating the future of the Kanc and making the most of the resources we have there. Loon has historically been very generous to the Kanc and the Linwood students. Danny Barassa, a local with a deep appreciation for the Kanc and a desire to give back to his community, installed the Kanc's first snowmaking while he was a director of snowmaking at Loon. A lot of time, materials, and knowledge were donated to bring the project to life. I would have much preferred to make this presentation in person, but do appreciate you reviewing this email and reading it out loud. Sincerely, Vicki Martin.
That's your breath.
Good job.
That's your breath.
So I would open it up to discussion here with the board. Couple of thoughts I had when reading through it is I think we always tend to look at the recreation department as the Kanc, and we tend to forget that the recreation department is so much larger than that.
Right.
The recreation department involves after school programs, summer camps, community center, community activities like this pickleball, so.
Elementary sports.
Elementary sports, right, so to narrow a committee or a group into focusing on one aspect of a recreation department, I think we're falling short.
I agree.
The other thing is, we kind of already have a very active committee with the Lincoln Woodstock Friends of Recreation. And what a great way to potentially evolve that organization. I know both Tammy and I sit on that organization or that board, but or committee. And we're always seeking new individuals. We've had the same handful of people.
Love to have every one of them.
Right,
That's
the
that would
expertise
be
and the knowledge.
fantastic. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
and all of that, we're a volunteer board. We
Right.
fundraise, we try to put forth events and activities that, engage all aspects.
Not just for the
Um,
Kanc, but
no,
for
right, for
everything
all-
else. We do things for all aspects of
Right,
recreation.
so I would like to suggest that maybe we consider looking at maybe first steps is having this involvement with the Friends of Rec and growing that committee. And using that committee as an advisory that generates ideas that then comes to the joint select boards and presents those ideas with Tara and Tara's input to say, okay, here's what we're thinking and the community is kind of thinking, because we're not saying there's no limit on how many people can sit on that committee
Right.
or on that board. Anybody that wants to be involved in the recreation of Lincoln and Woodstock can participate. And start there.
And we are looking for a secretary. So.
Yes.
Any volunteer.
And more importantly, it's relied on a handful of people
Yeah,
over the last 5 or 10 years to
12, 14 years.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know, to me, it kind of makes sense. I think some people involved in the skiing
Yeah.
industry and where their kids are involved would be a great asset to
Agreed.
the board there. And I don't think you want a volunteer board running the place. I think you have to have the employee, the buck has to stop with the town employee, no matter what. Not that they shouldn't be involved and be part, participate in what's going on there and maybe have suggestions and how to do things and that type of thing.
Yeah, I agree.
certainly,
And I think they should all be involved. There's plenty of work to do for everybody over there.
Absolutely.
I know my kids love it. I want
And
to
some.
go away and I want my grandson to go too, so.
Yeah.
and I think in this meeting tonight too, we should assure our residents in our community that there's been no discussion
Yeah,
about
the Kanc isn't going to-
closing or
Zero, right.
being reduced or anything like
Never.
that. The
Yeah.
Kanc is going to be the Kanc.
Yes.
But like we said, there's much more to it than just.
Sarah, how do you feel about it?
Well, again, this was my first time seeing this, so. Part of me feels like I just finished my 25th year here, so I was here for a lot of that. That, yes, other staff members were the lead, but obviously I supported and we took on. During that time, we added a middle school race after David passed because we knew that was so important to him. So we've continued to add things as needs have come up. And I think, for the small space that we have, we do an incredible job with offering things for all interests, like not just the ski teams, but the freestyle teams.
The
And
Kanc Harbor.
having lessons
Yeah.
for both in all ages, like
preschool.
starting with
Yeah,
3-year-olds
Pre-ski.
and
Yep.
we shuttle kids over and have parents bring kids over for pre-ski lessons. And so starting at 3 years old, all the way up to, I don't want to call out who our oldest probably is, but probably in his 80s. And just hearing people that stop in all the time and tell me about how, they love to see the pictures on the wall. They love to see how things have evolved, but also how some of it has stayed the way they were.
Something we talked about once too, in chit chatting, was that back when it was, a mom that wasn't working, that helped out and whatever, there wasn't as much involved as there is now necessarily due to evolving of the times. Now insurance companies are involved and everything has to be different than it was back then, when it was Natalie's Kitchen, which was awesome, but you couldn't do that again. You couldn't do it again. There's no way legally you could get that done.
And that
And-
comment about volunteers and how
Right.
that was built.
You couldn't
all
do
know
that
we
again
can't do
either.
that either,
Right,
you know,
right.
but
I mean, it would be nice, but we just can't, legally and insurance wise and whatnot, it can't be done. And we also didn't have, the community ball field. We didn't have the community, center, we didn't have the community center, exactly.
Yeah.
We didn't have food pantry, we didn't take credit cards.
Yeah,
It was cash only. I mean, there was so many things that,
we didn't even have tickets back at the beginning. It was
Right.
written in a-
exactly,
in a
yeah,
logbook.
that's right too. We
Yeah.
just write the name in the
Yeah.
logbook. Oh, I remember
Yeah.
that. And then we had to get tickets. I remember who was the catalyst on that.
Some
too.
again, the budget committee thought that we were missing
Yeah.
revenue because we didn't have tickets that
Right.
people could visibly see, but
Because you missed somebody
Yeah.
coming in and, yeah. And now we have, tickets, there's a pass that you scan with a scanner.
Yeah.
And there's no more paper tickets, which is kind of a bummer. Those are kind of cool, actually.
we do have some requests to go back to something for a day ticket. It's similar to that, so I'm still looking into that. Because we're always evolving, trying to.
But yeah,
Yeah.
there's so much more to it now.
Yeah.
Just evolving.
Well, even
That
the
you-
original candy counter, I think, had maybe 5 kinds of candy. Like,
Right.
and Natalie on a nice day would bring the candy box up to the bench and you could just go get
Yes.
candy up at the
Yeah.
bench instead, so.
Yep,
Now, if you try to pack up the candy counter, you would have to bring the fridge with you, because
Right.
it's the cheese sticks and Go-Gurts and juice boxes.
apples and
Yeah.
oranges and yeah.
And like you said, with the original rec committee, I know when I came in, the Friends of Rec was just replacing the rec commission that had been set up because of, in my understanding, we still have the paperwork somewhere, but the state had come in and said it wasn't correctly set up, so it couldn't be, it wasn't set up as an advisory, it was set up to control the municipal department, which was not legal, so again, that was disbanded and then Friends of Rec was formed.
Gotcha.
I think we just get more involvement in this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nate, you had your hand?
Yeah, I just wanted to add also, in Vicky's letter, she had mentioned, like improvements and whatnot, and, I just wanted to add, within the past few years, as far as infrastructure goes, we've, with CIP money and Public Works and working with Tara, we've, totally replaced the entire snowmaking line on that hill. We've replaced snow guns, we just purchased was it a $16,000, $17,000
Yep,
snowmaking pump system that we're gonna install this summer. That'll increase, and she mentioned, that our climate is changing and we need to be more proactive as far as making snow that's more economic, and that's why we purchased this
Yep.
pump, which will bring us from 200 PSI to 500, so we'll be able to make snow and do it more efficiently, so I just wanted to add that as well.
And the parking lot, the expanded parking lot significantly.
Parking lot, we expanded last year, so each year
Yeah,
we're making
right.
major infrastructure improvements. We've done all of this without any kind of an oversight committee.
Right,
and that's not saying that, we don't take the public's input on like, hey, have you ever thought about doing this, or what about if we should tweak this to do it this way? And
well, the garage for
Yeah.
the snowcat was, members of the public saying, hey, why don't you have a garage with a snowcat?
Yeah.
I went, okay, let's build one, and we did.
Yeah.
So, we take suggestions and comments and whatnot to heart, we truly do. The other thing that when it was, talking about employees and long-term employees, we lost one of our best employees I think we've ever had at the Kanc. That is not coming back due to mean and rude locals at the Kanc. Yeah. Consistently, not just one person came in and said consistently, more than once. More than one person consistently all winter, giving her a hard time, and she's not coming back. And that's,
it's a huge loss, because
it's
she also did
huge,
not just worked there, but did all the ordering, all the,
right?
knowing what needed to be done.
Very supportive.
And
For
always did it with a smile on, no matter what. She was
always.
getting done.
And on her own time, in her own car, with her own gas and her own everything, would drive down to Tilton
Mhm.
to go to BJ's, to go to the candy store, to pick up the hot dogs, I worked with Loon in ordering bulk, hot dog rolls and hot dogs and such, and all on her own time, out of the kindness of her heart, because she loved the Kanc. But she just refuses to continue to be abused at the Kanc all winter, which is extremely unfortunate. As much as I'd like to name names and call people out, I won't. I'll wait till I'm
We
looking at
appreciate
them.
it. Thank you.
I'll wait till I'm looking at them, then I'll look at them.
Appreciate that. Marcus,
Just listening to Vicky's letter, talking about the small ski areas. I mean, I worked at probably more ski areas than most people. It's kind of, when you have areas like Eustis, the Kanc. You can't, Tenny is not really in that small group, but another area that is very similar and parallel to the Kanc is Abenaki. And if you look and see what Abenaki does, granted, they've got a lot more money being in Wolfboro. They've got more people, local giving dollars, but they've got HKD guns. You look at their lodge and you look at their programs. And we could be like that, but we are making gains. I mean, this pump is gonna do a lot that you need snowmaking. And the only areas that haven't really failed are the municipally run ski areas with snowing. So, and this, there's things going on and it's good. And then another point is maybe we need a master plan. I wouldn't mind seeing a different building there. That's just, I'm just one person.
Yeah. But you
But-
disagree with-
No, it's
Even
not,
summer camp, when you try to put.
I know, all
kids
those
in
not
bathrooms,
just warming.
it's-
So.
We've had those talks, we
Where's
agree.
the master plan for stuff
Yeah.
like that?
Yeah.
I mean, Nate and Ryan are.
Amazing.
They're good,
Yeah,
they're good. Just let them do what they need to do.
yep.
And I've heard rumors about, we need to put a T-bar in, we need to raise it up further. But you wanna talk about doing things that are really gonna, you're gonna slow down the lift. That line is gonna go all the way up into Papoose if you put a T-bar in, because it does not have the uphill capacity that the rope tow
Right.
has. So
What would we do with the 10,000 pairs of gloves that we have?
I was gonna say- I'd say, so why don't you buy one of those? Why don't you buy one of those?
and when I ask my kids, and
Yeah,
keep the toe.
Absolutely.
It's what it's.
and they're in the
it's-
30s.
I think that's a general thought.
So,
We've had a kind of, you know, outside the door type of, hey, what do you think of a new building and what, you know, talks, or even reconfiguring the building so that it works a little better than it does now. Definitely adding bathrooms because they don't work for day camp, they just don't.
and storage, like we never.
And we never,
storage,
no,
but-
well,
yeah.
you could build a whole storage building and not have enough storage, just saying. That's something that the infrastructure is the responsibility of the town of Lincoln. However, the town of Lincoln wants input from the town of Woodstock on what we all need. Just because we're paying for it doesn't mean that we're gonna do what we want and to heck with you. We want to what everybody needs, because it's a community asset. So, but we have had some
And it was.
sucks.
I watched that door the night of the race. That door didn't close for 15 minutes.
No,
One door
Yeah.
just in
Yeah.
and out, in and out,
Right.
and it's like, it should be, it's like a restaurant. Here's your outdoor, here's your indoor.
Except, have you met a 5-year-old that can go out and indoor?
Yeah.
or out?
Oh, I closed the door. Well, I'm agreeing.
see, I wanna get rid of that door altogether, move something, emergency door on that side down a little bit and have the entrance come in on the back, then you're not entering and exiting at the slope side. At all. It's
Just worry
all,
about that little kid that's gonna pee and have to go
Yeah.
around the back side of the building to,
Well,
cause
they're
they
gonna
stay
have
a
to
little
go-
too long.
Anyway, that's why we put the snow pants there, we definitely use them.
Or we have a set of bathrooms on that side and a set of bathrooms on the other side.
Or something, yeah, we,
Yeah.
but
No,
those talks
definitely
need
needs
to
to
happen,
be
yeah,
revisited and.
yeah.
I do
Has
have
conversations been had with maybe having Stuart take a peek, Anderson and just kind of give some thoughts on.
Well, and my
Short-term
CIP
fixes.
But
is
you do
meeting
need an
Friday,
engineer
so
to
it's gonna at least put.
architect or design
line in
that.
there just to-
Yeah, Tara just said to her,
Yeah, okay, yeah.
we're in CIP discussions now, her starting that whole process, so she's gonna put a line item there for something. We don't
Just
know
to
what
start
yet,
that
just to start the
discussion,
discussion, yeah. And I do wanna mention that Jim Martin has volunteered, labor and material to build a deck, an upper deck off the top for viewing and whatnot. Which we definitely want to take him up on, no question. Free is always a good thing, and he's a fantastic builder, so yes.
Yeah.
However, we want to wait and see what exactly we're gonna do with that building. If we put a deck up now and then have to tear half of it down to move the door or something, doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Or to have someone come in and look at the building and say, yeah, no, this whole thing has to go, you need to start over. Then we've got a brand new deck we're taking out, so
Yeah.
we definitely want to take him up on it. However, we want to wait and see exactly where it's gonna be and how before we waste his time and money, so.
But I also have concerns because if slope side, it's gonna visually block from seeing inside, which I know is one of the big concerns. If you're standing inside and you want to see the slope.
See, I thought that same thing too, so I went in the building and I sat on one of the benches and looked, and as long as it's only about 4 or 5 feet out, you can still see all the way up, but
You still
any
have to
more than that,
support.
it's gonna block
Yeah.
slope side. And that was from the first bench, not way back against the wall, but yeah. We could have a small one, it's not gonna be huge. It'll be, 4 or 5 feet wide off of the building, but it could be the whole length. But more than that, you're right, would totally block any view of the top of the slope. So,
Okay. First of all, I think that we have a real unique situation here with our Kanc Rec area. I mean, it's a gem.
it is,
I think, we all want to support it, make it better, do what we can to make it thrive. The Friends of Rec is also a pretty unique arrangement. I mean, it's not a town affiliated. I mean,
right,
we don't have control of them. They don't, report to us. It's a completely independent thing that's pretty much overseeing, at least providing guidance to the town operated, recreation area, ballparks, community center, the different activities. So, and again, that's a great arrangement, but it's also unique, just the way it works. There is a sort of I don't want to say a conflict, but a difference between the Friends of Rec, independent, 501c3 nonprofit, in the operating municipality, the town of Lincoln, who shares with the town of Woodstock the operation of the facility. I don't want to ruin that. I'd rather strengthen the Friends of Rec than do anything to make this great symbiotic relationship thrive even more. At the same time, we have, in my opinion, lacked some long-term planning regarding the long-term future of the tank. We're talking about a free deck, but we don't even know what our plans are for 2 years down the road, never mind 10.
right,
I agree with Marcus, the thing that I think the component that we're missing is the long-term planning. I know in the past, and I used to sit on the CIP committee, is that sometimes things came up that weren't planned for 10 years in advance, that were crucial, like when we redid the electric, like when we
The
top shack.
Top Shack. I mean, there was some things that's like, okay, we need this, in 2 years. It's like, that's not capital planning. I'm wondering if the town and the Friends of Rec can work together to establish just a master planning committee that would include the Friends of Rec, and whoever else, but certainly all of these people, to do a master plan. You start it, and just like when the town does their planning master plan, we start, we have a deadline, I'm sure you guys do the same thing. And you have to update that master plan every 10 years, 5 years, I don't know, it seems like I've been through a couple of those. Do a master plan with that kind of community input. I mean, there's a lot of people who are invested, involved, and want to participate, but not necessarily on the whole Friends of Rec thing, which their scope is well beyond just the Kanc Rec Ski Area. It's the whole recreation of both towns. But if we had just a capital planning tool for just the Kanc Rec Ski Area, I think that would be helpful for the capital reserve committee that meets and does these things, so that we can know, okay, what do we want this building to be? long term, we know we have problems with the bathrooms, we know we have. Entrance, exit problems, do we need to make it bigger so that it's more functional for the summer programs in the bad weather? What is the long-term plan for that building? What's the long-term plan for the ski slope? Things like that. I would wonder if we could, I'm not saying make them join the Friends of Rec or, don't let them do anything if they don't want to do that, but have a separate group that works with the Friends of Rec to develop a master plan for that ski area. And when that master plan is done, that project is done, if they want to join the Friends of Rec committee, great. If they just want to come to the capital reserve committee every year and make sure we get our money, that's great too, but I'm just throwing that out. If we want to get a capital planning, master plan committee for just that ski area and have them work with the Friends of Rec on that one project and present the master plan to the two towns.
Would it
Great
be
idea.
then part of the town Lincoln's master plan? Because isn't that should be coming
Kind of
as
board
well,
work.
right?
Not really.
Town of Lincoln has a master plan really with zoning and regulations
Okay.
and things
What
like
was the
housing and traffic and.
The village core center, it had like different parts of it at one point too.
Right, I'm thinking a master plan for just
That area, the
Kanc
Kanc
Rec
area.
area.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
so that we don't say, oh, all of a sudden we need a parking lot, or we do the electric lines. It's like, okay, what do we want this area to be in 10 years? And what steps, what order do we take to get there, so that we don't build a deck and then have to design a building around a deck and it's in the wrong place and it's too high, too low, too far out, or whatever. What are the steps and where do we want to get to? Once we have that plan, we say, okay, we can build the deck, but it has to go here, this
Yeah,
size,
yeah.
and then when we make the change of whatever's next, the bathrooms, it's not gonna interfere with that.
Right,
We don't have to relocate the deck or doors or plumbing. There's a plan, a master plan. That's kind of.
Sounds
Yeah,
logical.
I like it, yeah.
that's a great idea.
I think it's a
I
fair
would,
idea.
I would suggest too that, you've already got a nucleus. Ms. Martin has indicated there's a lot of people there that really would focus in on that. So why not form a subcommittee, works with Tara, works with the Kanc Rec, and come up with the master plan? I mean, it's a simple process, I think, because you've got people that are committed to doing it and doing it in a way that everybody is acceptable to these boards and to these towns. So.
And I think like Cheryl suggested, I want to check with Stuart Anderson too and see if he's willing to be involved in that, because
I think you would
his
be,
kids and family ski
Yeah.
there and, we're all
it's a great
He's
asset.
easier, yeah.
Would it be, the total board's understanding that if we did that master planning committee, whatever you wanna call them, that'd be under the direction of the two towns
Yes,
to work with the
Friends
Friends,
of Rec.
to work with the Friends of
That's
Rec. Let you guys remain autonomous from the town, but we have a town appointed master planning committee, work with the
and I
Friends of
think
Rec.
once this committee of Friends of Rec, whoever come up with this master plan and they have this document, it needs to be approved by the board,
Right.
the boards,
Yeah.
before it gets just implemented.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Exciting, well done.
Done. So I know the Friends of Rec's next meeting is until early August due to vacation schedules and such. We just couldn't make July work.
Yeah, I
You were
think
gonna do a doodle,
For early September.
Yeah.
I
oh,
think
September,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. We
Okay.
may be able to do end of August, because school
starts that last week, yeah.
starts out last week, so we potentially, I'll pull out some dates
Okay.
for, and what we can do is we'll post it on once we get a date, we'll post it out on all the
Facebook, town
Facebook town
websites, yep.
websites, and hopefully
Um,
get a lot of folks that will engage and
great.
come and.
And we can even have it
Talk
right out
things out.
because.
Yeah, have it right at the Kanc, yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
and maybe make sure to invite the people that,
Mhm.
Vicky
Yes.
had mentioned in that letter and say.
Specifically in that letter. Yep.
Do we wanna invite them, or do we wanna invite that we will appoint them to this master planning committee?
Yes,
Are you looking to appoint people, or are you looking to have people volunteer
I
to?
think whoever wants to be on will be on.
Participate. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't
want to just look
I don't
at
wanna
it
say
to
this
the
committee is
five
just
people,
these five
just
people, that's
five
it.
people.
Yes.
30 people show up at the hearing, you know, it's, yeah, and it doesn't,
You got a lot of other
and
voices
if
that
these-
could be here.
right, and the five people that came to this meeting don't have to go to that one or this one, you know, we want input from everybody.
From everybody.
If you can be, you know, get to every meeting, great, if you can't, we still want everybody.
I wonder, I mean, maybe it's a question for the master planning committee, but maybe have a couple public hearings where people that may not want to be on that committee, but want to kind of share their thoughts.
Good call.
Yeah,
We could bring in those thoughts and then the master planning committee could formulate.
That's a good idea. Yeah, I love it.
Is there any other comments or questions from the public?
Tara, how do you feel?
I like it. Obviously, you know, the buildings, we've worked with it. It's-
Right, it needs, yeah,
Needs,
We must.
yeah, I agree.
and we have, as you know, we have the community building committee that's set up with Lincoln and Woodstock residents and select board members that does that
It
for the
works,
community
yeah.
building.
Right.
So I think it's just that same idea, but bringing it to the tank.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Good, all right. Then moving on to the solid waste facility fee schedule.
Before we get on to that, I just want to say, there's so many people that have come up to me in this last year or so that have said that don't, I'm gonna say. That's not saying. That's what they call it. John's doing a great job. It looks good. It's done well. Thank you. Yeah.
Applause doesn't mean raise, by the way.
Thank you.
It's not in the budget.
Yeah, and I don't mean one or two people, I mean, a lot of people have commented.
Oh, no, that's.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Hmm.
So we have some- We have some fee updates. It's this top part, right? The items that will now be weighed include, is that what we're looking to?
I think this is the
I
current.
think this is the
schedule.
current schedule. I don't think there's any
Okay.
proposed
No.
changes. I think this
Oh.
was just being
This
uh,
was amended in 21.
21.
So you just want to
Okay.
continue it?
Bye, thank you.
Well,
Thank
that's,
you.
that's.
Well,
the
that's the
discussion tonight.
question, yeah. Are you good with the schedule as it is? How are you doing budget wise?
I
Does it need any
we're
attention?
okay with this, reason me being here, I did, I heard that there was question about, cost for running the brush.
That was me,
I
yeah.
came prepared to, explain that cost.
The grinding of the brush and stuff. Remember we used to burn it and then I don't even know how many
The whole
Yeah.
minutes of
company.
use.
It smells, it calls.
Right, we can't burn it and we know that. And we decided at the time, and I remember it was $4,000, and we thought, that's a ton of money to be grinding brush, $4,000. But we decided that, you know, it was better to pay and do that than to have folks burning their brush on School Street or in their backyard or, you know, wherever, in either town. And that there's just a lot of people that don't have the woods to take their brush to and throw it, they have to do something with it.
Right.
And that it was, you know, worth it to pay that. And then I saw the most recent one, which is what it's been for the last few years, I guess.
Well, I
It was
have,
like $13,000. I'm like, oh, wow.
I have the invoice,
gone
from- I have the invoice here from last year to compare last year with this.
Are we doing it every year or every other year?
Right now, we're doing it every year.
Okay,
So last year, it looks like they worked for 8.5 hours. And that's, you know, to process everything that's there. This year, they worked 12. So, you know, and the only difference between last year and this year is that I had them come in the 25th of April. And this year they came in a month later. So I don't think that was that much more brush in 1 month. I think it was just an accumulation over the whole year. But also, for example, and I'm sure this is directly related to the cost of fuel right now. Where last year, the mobilization cost was $750. This year it was $960. So when you go right down the line, even the permitting went up for their moving their grinder. And that's a state fee.
Right.
That went up. That went from 100 to 150. But the equipment and labor for the 12 hours was $8,100 compared to last year where it was 5,227. So it's just, there was just more
It's
material
inflation,
to
yeah.
process,
Mhm.
basically, is what drove the cost up. I believe I did go over budget for this year, And I did increase from last year, knowing that fuel was gonna
Sure.
be more, that would
But I think weighing everybody's brushing, that could be a nightmare.
It would be.
I just don't know if that's really gonna do us much good because brush is so light. It's
Yeah, that's right.
way up,
It's,
you know, but, so. what
it's
was
the
it?
commercial people made it.
I did budget 11,000, and we paid 13, so I went over by that much. But the year prior, you know, I did increase.
And I'm not at all saying that we should stop burning brush again, because we cannot,
No.
and I'm not saying that we shouldn't take brush. I just wanted to, you know,
Listen,
when I saw them, like, wow, I remember it was 4,000, of course, that was probably 12 years ago. When we started, I don't remember when it was, we stopped burning, but it, you know, it's a cost that we think we have to bear. I just wanted to bring it out to.
I mean, we do accumulate quite a bit of brush, and John sees it more than I do, but there's a lot that comes from, you know, say like Coolidge Falls, you know, Village of Moon, there's a lot of loads coming from.
We still don't want
Those
them burning it up behind the condos either. That could be a nightmare.
It's not all necessarily just homeowners.
Yeah,
Well, you have a lot of natural disasters lately too that has caused more blown down trees and more
Right.
this or that. Yeah.
Couple of questions, Nate. Number one, what does a grinder cost of the magnitude to take care of the load that we have
The
there?
grinder that they use, I think it's a multi-million-dollar machine.
Mm.
Really? Okay. So it's not feasible to get a smaller grinder and do it ourselves?
I think that, and I think even if you try to, you know, sequester like a logging company to come in there and do the same thing, they're gonna not really wanna put their equipment through this, because this is actually a tub grinder.
Okay.
And, you know, John can't police everything that goes into this pile,
Right.
and there's miscellaneous things, and this grinder is set up to, not only does these folks grind brush, they'll move it to a site and grind whole homes. So it is designed to be able to handle any of that strange, you know, you take a logger's chipper, well, one piece of metal going through that can be catastrophic.
Mhm.
And I think it might be a little bit of a liability issue if we bought a chipper. And
oh, we don't want
can't
to be
feed
doing
it up
that,
there.
no.
And secondly, my other question was, is there any secondary market for what we do grind? I think I asked that before. of
I can do
somebody.
some research. I can't answer that 100%. I don't know. I do know that it's not the grindings that come from this brush, which has been sitting for so long. I don't know as if they can market it to the wood to energy plants. I'm not quite sure what they do with it. My guess is they probably market it to somebody who makes parking with that. So I could do a little research and find out if, you know, but I think a lot of it's just the trucking of it
Yeah.
offsite.
Yeah.
That drives the cost of that up, but I mean, even in the invoice, they itemized it. So it cost us around $3,100 to $3,900 to get rid of it. That was the actual itemized cost to get rid of those grinders.
I mean, John's built some nice piles over there out of it.
Looks nice.
Looks great.
We did 1 year, when Jim was there, we did, because the trucking was astronomical that year for some reason. I think it was one of those years that they just couldn't get trucking. And we had them just leave it on site. And we're still kind of fighting where it was placed. It's just, we don't have enough of an area to try to move it.
Thank you.
Okay.
It's one of those, it is what it is.
Right,
exactly. Yeah.
Great. Was there anything else with the solid waste facility? that you
No,
guys
place is
wanted to
awesome.
ask or-
John's doing a great job.
or
Great.
anything? Equipment's all good? Great. We also have the CIP set, oh, they just dropped it off for
That's
us
just
to,
for you.
for our review.
Yeah.
Okay. Was there any public comments on anything with the solid waste facility? No? I'm not seeing anything online. So at this time, I would entertain a motion to close the joint selectmen's meeting.
So moved.
All right, go to second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you guys very much.
Thank
coming
you.
over here.
Thanks for hosting us.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yep, no, great discussion.
excellent. Have fun with the rest of your meeting. Sorry you can't stay.
I thought you were you're hanging out with us.
Thank you.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Have a good night.
You too, good to see you.
You too.
What are you wearing next time?
Right? The 26th, are you still on your calendar?
Of July. I wasn't sure
Yeah,
what the situation was with that, but we can talk
I
about
think it would, yeah. Sounds good.
it.
I'll reach out to you.
All right.
Thank you. All right,
Thanks.
so now I will call the Town of Woodstock Board of Selectmen's meeting to order. At 5:46 p.m. First up, we have to approve and sign the minute from June 13th. I would make a motion to accept the minutes. Do I have a
I'll
second?
second that.
All right, all those in favor? Aye. Next up, we have the non-public minutes from May 12th.
Making motion, we accept those minutes.
I will second. All those in favor? Oh, motion to approve and seal, sorry.
Approve and seal.
So approve and seal. Yeah, on second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then we have the non-public minutes from May 16th. I need a motion to approve and seal those as well.
Okay, after you guys sign, you can
Alright.
seal.
Okay, I'll second.
You made the motion, so.
Yeah, second, all those in favor? Aye. Right, those ones are yours.
Thank you.
Do we want to seal because Gil's not here to sign?
You can't sign, you're not motion to.
Okay.
So those are motions to approve and seal. The two non-public ones.
Let's seal there. Okay. You, all right. So next, we have to approve and sign a revised New Hampshire DES Water and Energy Implementation Grant. So I'll make a motion to enter into the revised Water and Energy Implementation Grant with New Hampshire DES and authorize Selectmen Rice to sign the revised grant application, exhibits A through C, and the consultant selection verification form on the board's behalf. The reason why we're having to go back through this is, New Hampshire DES is 50% share. They had given us up to 11,500 and we only need 2,000. 637, right, so.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah.
I need to supervise. So
I want-
we can-
But I don't need to read anything else, right?
No,
No, you just need to sign, and don't forget the initials on the bottom.
right here, up front. I've pre-done everything, so. There you go.
Well,
Need a babysitter. Come on.
Right on, right up there. Okay. And then, I'll go through this aisle. This is after.
Sorry. I need to read this certificate of vote.
No, you're just going to the town. So you as the person, you're gonna do that middle section further authorized, and then I'm gonna sign. That's good.
For the top part, I need to read. A certificate of vote, which, no,
No. You're just going to,
that'll work. the
Yeah.
town of Woodstock, perimeter, okay, so
Oh,
on
God, I
the.
can't. get people by some
Oh,
stuff,
sorry.
anything. Sorry.
I'm like, come on, I got them. Here you go. Perfect, perfect.
We're good.
The thing is a lot of.
They do. Okay, so you can walk out that can.
Okay, so then we have a motion to authorize Selectman Wright to sign any and all future documents on behalf of the select board for the New Hampshire DES water energy grant. So make that motion.
I'll second that, I guess.
Yeah, all those in favor? Aye.
Yeah.
You can.
In this situation.
Checked on that.
All right,
All right,
All right, so.
so now you need to,
This one second, and then that is there, I'll just finish it out. Okay. Not done with that. All right.
all righty, you're good, all right.
Sorry.
So next up, we're gonna table the New Hampshire Electric Co-op's request for an easement because they did not get the documentation to us in time. So we'll look at that next meeting.
Yeah.
And next, we need to open and award the RFQ for the sewer pump station upgrade. So we get any,
You only got one,
okay,
and per the scope, you know, the part
The
of the RFP, there's 4
RFP.
copies here, so
okay,
I'll hold that goes. And they had to give one electronic
okay,
copy, which they did.
okay,
This is it, this is the only one you got.
all right, well,
beautiful, you know, what's.
That is a ton once you get going.
happy finance, Steve, okay. All folks that we're familiar with working with,
Yeah, and I'm not sure who, okay, but they're very familiar with your pump station too.
yes,
Well, I mean,
They-
they've done all our work, so.
Yeah. And part of the thing is, once you choose your engineering, then you meet with them, you set up the meeting to
Right.
discuss the pricing.
What is the price of your engineering?
Well, it's like-
This request for qualifications.
right, and now you choose them, now
Yeah.
then you need to negotiate the
Yeah.
fees.
so, so I would
I make-
motion, go ahead.
I make a motion that we accept their,
Or,
award their, our.
Yep. I will second that
to Horizon.
to Horizon Engineering,
Shares,
all those in favor?
Uh,
I will email them to set up a meeting sometime. Do you
Yeah.
want to do that in a workshop or,
Yeah, we can do that, that way there, we can do it midday for them,
Okay.
morning,
that's typically.
Yeah.
What do you want?
We might be able to, we might go through some of the other things that are going on too while they're here too.
yeah, that would be
Some
great,
of the
maybe a
other
workshop
projects
with
that we're-
Horizon on all of.
Some of the other
that.
things that they've got, what they're working on, like 4 projects for us, so we might start to update everybody on.
I will let them know. If not, at the very least, I'll let them start on this because this is the Northern Border Grant, so we need to keep moving.
If we can look maybe at the week of the 10th,
I'll ask them.
okay,
Do you have a specific time on any of those?
that Monday, the 10th is like the best day for me.
I can't do Monday morning.
You can't do mornings,
I
okay,
do Monday
You
afternoon.
guys are on your own.
oh, you are, oh, that's right, let's not then. How about Friday mornings?
We can do it.
Okay, and I could even do Friday the 7th in the morning,
What's the 10th week Friday?
the 14th,
They're not gonna wanna come down that quickly. For
Yeah,
workshop.
okay.
I'm just thinking, no one knows guys.
the morning. All right, I will get back to you and let you know what they say.
Yeah. if they give us some dates.
Just guessing.
Okay.
Right, so up next, we have to open and award the RFP for Center Street. One, what's that?
What pleasure?
Sure, so this is for paving of Center Street,
Grinding and paving and doing. it.
yeah,
Yeah, I've attached the RFP question. What do you
It's
look?
$200,000.
No way, really?
for
Just
just
looking up the sky.
Center Street?
Costs $100,000 to pay my parking lot. That's it. That's not, how can I say?
You're a little bit.
Right.
Okay.
You get. So 27, I don't know who that is.
We have this proposal from GMI.
Good.
God, I'm glad you're wrong.
How wrong am I?
Their total estimated cost is 38,000.
No way.
For everything?
To
Percentage to
grind it,
reclaim, grade and pave approximately 436 feet by 20 to 24 feet.
I thought he was gonna give it on a lot.
Lower structures prior to reclaim existing pavement. Fine grade and compact raised structures to propose finished grade, supply and install machine paved asphalt base at 2 inches. Compacted, supply and install machine paved asphalt top at 1 inch.
That's everything in your
Compacted.
scope.
That's everything in there?
Yes, it's
Right.
what reclaim existing asphalt, lower
Seems
passage
too
and
cheap.
structures, gate valves, gravel free and compact.
GMI's a good company.
And
What
they've
is it? Can
attached-
you tell me what it is?
Yep, it's 38,500
And that's their estimated.
total
No,
estimated
that's what
cost.
it's gonna cost, yeah.
Yep. And they've
So-
attached a certificate of liability already too.
That's good. That's a
So-
great deal.
I make a motion that we accept the RFP from GMI paving in the amount of 38,500.
I definitely second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Will you put my bid back into that in there too a bit? Thank you.
There you go.
That's all we got.
Yeah,
The firefighter funds.
Yep.
No, I meant that's all we got for.
so, I'll make a motion that we, accept
Sure, we vote on these all at once.
the. No, I think we have to go individually because they're individual checks. So, we'll accept the gift of $580 for T-shirt sales donations for the Woodstock Firefighter Fund.
Is that the motion?
That's my motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye. A motion for a reimbursement check for, a plaque and cake in the amount of $1,055.10.
I'll make that motion.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
I'll make the motion to, issue a check to Neptune Uniforms in the amount of $896.27. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. We need, I'll make a motion to accept the reimbursement check, for your holiday party in the amount of $651. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Make a motion to issue a check in the amount of $1,440 to Body Cutters. Those are their T-shirts
Okay.
that they sell. Yeah. No, it's the T-shirts that you keep selling them out of. So I made that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. And then last but not least, a motion to issue a check to Neptune Uniforms in the amount of $810.50. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Under other business, we have an amended contract from Bulldog for the new fire truck. The price was reduced from the contracted amount by $2,545. So the new purchase price is $502,805. We accept that new contract. So a motion to accept the new contract. Do I have a
Yes,
second?
second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Cheryl, you're gonna.
Yep, and then there's a scheduled workshop this Friday at 1 p.m. Oh. Not be there.
It's still gonna close.
Yes.
Yeah, I can potentially sign on via Zoom.
I don't think you need to, I mean,
Okay.
it's just gonna open up the bids.
Okay, perfect. I think that's good. Good.
Did you wanna?
We also got a $40,000 grant from the town.
From the county, yeah, towards the
That's
health.
good.
Excellent, that ARPA money.
Yeah, they had extra ARPA money and they awarded us $40,000.
Better cushion than the,
Yeah. Oh,
So once I get the correct verbiage, we'll be having a public hearing to accept it. but,
except those monies,
Yeah.
yeah. Great,
This was just for you.
yep. Good, all right. Public participation on any of the town of Woodstock items that we just discussed. Yes, Bill.
Just curiosity on the ordinance. Last time, the sidewalks and town property. That's inaccessible. On the website.
Oh, you should have given me a call. I would have checked it out.
I found it, I don't know, I found the applications, I was gonna try to do it before this meeting, I didn't have time, so.
Oh, it just
No,
got
it's
uploaded
not.
wrong?
It's not the application, it's the ordinance, you need a password.
Oh, it got uploaded, it just got
Oh.
uploaded wrong, so we'll go in and fix it. Thank you for letting us know. We'll go in
I
and-
don't know,
Judy gave me the last number, you can do it.
yeah, but I don't know how or why it would need a password. I don't know, like. what
Maybe
to do.
something just accidentally got clicked or whatever.
Yeah.
We can check it out.
It does. It says almost like.
And
you
it's
have
in
to-
red too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Don't, it's a secret.
Oh, my goodness, yeah, give me a call when you see stuff like that. I'll call the software people and. Yeah, sorry about that. I can give you a copy of it.
It's just curiosity.
Yes, sir, Marcus.
Just if, I don't know, I've mentioned this before, but if there's gonna be a master plan committee for the Kanc Rec, I'd be willing to volunteer for the town of Woodstock.
Oh, good. You'd be a good
But-
volunteer too.
But I am a town of Lincoln employee at the Kanc. for
So
like
is it
part-time.
zero though?
So why not?
Yeah, so I think.
I don't see the issue.
I don't
I
see- see any issue.
Employees should be,
I mean, of all people that should be on that committee, you should be on that committee.
Yeah,
Are you gonna pass that over to them through the friends?
Yeah.
That is really neat.
great, thank you. I think it's a great. Anything else? Mike Donahue, hello. good
Yes,
evening.
good evening. I just had a couple questions for you. Could you tell me what your estimate is for the salt sand shed in total for all parts that you're gonna be spending money on?
I can't think of just, this is off the top of my head, around 200, like,
Okay, how is that funding coming? I heard you just say you see 40 from the county.
yeah, it may end up being like it may end up being 160. We've got all the money put away though, in the capital reserves to pay for the
Okay.
whole thing.
Okay, so this is the only grant you have is what you mentioned tonight so
For
far.
that, yes. So
Yep.
I'm thinking, just a rough number, it's gonna bring it down from about 200 to 140 or something like that.
Okay, and the other thing is, when are the other parts gonna go out to bid that are listed in your ad? You had the foundation, paving, electrical. I assume you're doing the site prep yourself in-house.
Yeah,
When is that gonna go out to bid?
I think they're under the amount that we have to put them out to bid.
Yeah, that's what we were told by.
That's-
council.
Yeah. They're
The
under the amount
foundation?
we have to put out to bid,
The
all
foundation
gonna-
would be?
under 25, yeah.
Really?
If there's anything over 25, it will go out to bid, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, all right, that answers that. I got another question for you. I can't seem to find any minutes since February for the planning board. I realize this is probably a planning board question, but where you sit on the planning board, I was gonna ask you. There's nothing on their website. And, back when I was on there less than a year ago, I advocated so that they could get some help, so they could get up to speed. And there's nothing. How do people follow what's going on in the planning department?
The minutes should be uploaded.
Well, I
minutes.
checked,
There will
I
be
checked.
videos uploaded very soon.
Are you talking
Okay,
videos or minutes?
No,
Like,
no, just minutes, Cheryl. I checked today and it's still February, whatever.
They're up to.
Yeah.
Well, the March one has to be approved. But
So up to February, but the March one has to be approved, and I guess.
And then-
From people.
We're
Yeah,
in
there's gonna-
July. this is July. What, I guess and I understand it's not you people, but maybe you could,
No, well, we'll look into it. We'll look into it.
all righty, thank you.
That's a legitimate point for sure.
I'm trying to see.
That's what's up there right now, it's up through February.
February, March, April, it should be March.
So
Should
missing March,
March.
April and May.
Yeah, those.
Well,
are
well,
being
April could have been
approved. The
approved.
March one was skipped because, no, it was the March one.
The March one was skipped because there's no meeting.
There was no meeting in March. Okay.
Yeah, and April was just, needs to be approved this next meeting.
So the April minutes have to be approved next meeting.
And
Yeah.
No meeting in March.
the April meeting. in March.
April's have to be approved at this next meeting.
And May, so April and May
And
weren't
May.
approved yet?
No.
Their last.
April, what, I wonder.
The May 8th was approved. Sorry, I'm like trying to go off the top of my head and I can't.
We'll
No, it
look
just
into
seems
it.
like, yeah, it just seems like it's been a long time since anything, even non-approved minutes or something, you know.
We don't post non-approved minutes, but you can send an email.
Request them.
to- And we'll email out a draft.
Okay, thank you.
Want draft minutes, Mike, you can always do it planning@woodstocknh.gov, and they'll send you
Oh.
a draft of the minutes.
Okay, thank you.
It's .gov now, Mike, not .org.
I still want to
Okay.
change my-
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Anything else? No? All right, I would entertain a motion to adjourn at 6:06 PM.
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor? Aye. Thank you, folks, for coming out this evening. Thank you, everybody on Zoom.
Yep.
Have a good evening. Have a happy and safe 4th too.